Jenkins-Arno.
Okay, those two weren't, okay. Good morning and welcome to the October 21, 2025 regularly scheduled, pardon me?
October 28,
October 28,
not 21.
good heavens. October 20, the year is moving faster than I thought. October 28, 2025 meeting of the regularly scheduled House Committee on Finance. Call the meeting to order. Please take roll.
Chair Tisdel,
Here.
Representatives Frisbie,
Here.
Vanderwall,
Present.
Leitner,
Here.
Martin,
Here.
Posthumous,
Here.
Alexander,
Here.
Aragona, Schutte, Hoskins,
Here.
Carter,
Here.
Neely,
Here.
Breen, Young,
Here.
Pies. Mr. Chair, you have 11 members present. You do have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Vice Chair Hoskins moves to adopt the minutes from October 21st with no objections. That moves along with unanimous consent. We're missing a couple here this morning, so we'll jump right to testimony. House Bill 4816, Representative Jenkins-Arno. Come on forward with your entourage. And if you would please introduce everyone.
Thank you. Good morning. I looked at the agenda and saw we were the fifth ones down, and I thought, well,
Oh, surprise.
yes, a surprise this morning. So thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. I appreciate the opportunity to speak on my bill, House Bill 4816. It's another opportunity for Michiganders to invest in Michigan businesses and allow us to take care of our own. And it also will give Michigan businesses and communities a much-needed tax credit. Under this legislation, local Michigan investors would be able to receive a tax credit that is 50% of their investment with an annual maximum benefit of $6,000 per year. It's beyond time that we start looking for better ways to incentivize Michiganders to increase their economic opportunities. And this is a great way to start. Here are a few facts about the bill. Any Michigan citizen qualifies for the incentive. The incentive comes in the form of a tax credit equal to 50% of the investment amount. There is a maximum benefit of $3,000 with investments up to $6,000 per year. The incentive comes after the investment, not before. The credit can be carried forward for 10 years or until the entire tax credit is used. Investments can be in any qualified Michigan business, and Michigan businesses that qualify must have the majority of their property, employees, and sales in the state. Businesses who receive investments because of this incentive will build local economic wealth and hire Michigan workers. This is the kind of economic development we need in Michigan. I strongly encourage you to support this initiative to help make Michigan an economic powerhouse once again. And I have here with me Chris Miller, who's a special projects consultant at Plainwave in Lenawee County in my district, and he is subject matter expert on this legislation. He has a few other guests with him as well, and I will allow him to introduce them.
Great. Thank you again, Mr. Speaker and members of the committee. I'm actually here representing, although I'm a special project consultant for a telescope manufacturer that we moved from California to Adrian, Michigan. Very proud of that. I'm here today on behalf of the National Coalition for Community Capital and certainly as a Michigander. So our organization is really about activating regular folks known as retail investors, those are non-accredited investors, to allow them to make direct investments in their own communities, in their own businesses, on real estate projects, et cetera. We want to kind of go backwards in time when all of our communities grew. The folks who lived in those communities participated in that economy by putting their money in a local bank account, local savings and checking accounts, and those dollars were then reinvested in the community. Sadly, that's not where we are today. Typically, what's happening today is our funds are going into regional or national banks and other instruments, and the folks who are building businesses in our communities or are building real estate in our communities are very often not from our communities. And in fact, they're looking at a spreadsheet that says, how much money do we have to put into this community in order for us to take more money out of it? It's an extractive model. And 50 years ago, that wasn't a big deal if we had a Sears and a JCPenney's and a Hudson's in a local mall, because it was a very small percentage of the businesses that are in our communities. That is not the case today. In Adrian, where I live, we have 10 businesses that started in the last 2 years. Only one of them is local. Everything else is a chain from somewhere else. And that means the money that's spent there exits our communities, doesn't recirculate, and that is just typical broadly across the country. And so we're about activating those community members, giving them an opportunity to be investors and owners and build wealth and recirculate capital in all of our communities. As Representative Jenkins said, it's past time for us to do this. Michigan has been a leader in this space, starting in a piece of legislation that Representative Jenkins passed in 2013, the MILE Act, Michigan Invest Locally exemption, which was the second contemporary passage of legislation and which actually set the bar nationally and put Michigan on the map. So we've seen a lot of individual investments happening, but not the community impact kind of thing that we're really interested in, and that's why we want to create this incentive. So I'm really encouraging you to take a hard look at this. We think it has great merit and it will be tremendously beneficial for Michigan. We have several other states who are also interested in this legislation. As a Michigander, born and raised, I'm hoping we can get across the finish line first and demonstrate how we build local communities, how we build and recirculate local wealth, how we bring control back to our own communities so we can decide the kinds of businesses that are in our communities, the kind of real estate projects that get done, et cetera. So it's my pleasure today to have a couple of colleagues with me. First of all, I'm going to introduce my colleague from Michigan State University. She's from the Center of Regional Economic Innovation, Janan Jondi. If you could just say a couple of words, Janan, that'd be great.
Thank you, Chris. Is that on? Okay. So I've been working with Chris Miller and the National Coalition for Community Capital. The Regional Economic Innovation initiative at the Center for Community and Economic Development specifically focuses on low-income communities. And what we have found that, you know, when we look at low-income communities, if you look at individual poverty, but you also have community wealth, how do you keep that wealth in local communities? How do you empower individuals and families to build wealth? And this is one of the ways that they can do that. They have become empowered to invest in local businesses that they want in their communities and also get a return on investment and therefore also build their individual and family wealth. So again, looking at this holistically and the positive impact that can have not just on individuals and families, but also on creating and retaining new jobs in the state of Michigan.
Great, thank you, Janan. I'm really excited to introduce Brent Forsberg to you. Brent is a developer in Lansing, here in Lansing, grew up in Southwest Lansing, and is working on a really impactful project. And I'm really proud because Brent is the first developer who has worked with our organization nationally, so we're working across the country. And he's the first developer that saw the value of this and said, I'm willing to do the hard work to make it happen. So we are building a community investment fund here in Lansing, and the first project is going to be a project that Brent has been working on. So Brent, why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Mr. Chair and the committee for giving me a few minutes. This is really exciting. This is about building agency in our communities, about reflecting the values of our communities and how our communities want to grow. We're working in an area that hasn't seen major investment in over 20 years in Southwest Lansing at the corner of Holmes and Pleasant Grove. And this has been part of a plan for the last 10 years of how to revitalize a neighborhood that really has seen disinvestment as our community continues to grow out, as we see the big box stores getting close to the highway and the smaller businesses leaving the area. And it's not just about the investment, but it's about bringing education in for people. So we have a long list of strategic partners that you can see on the website that are working with us. And it's about bringing in financial education. It's about bringing in career pathways. We're working with the projects that we have career pathways for people that live in the community to get into full careers in the construction trades with this. And we have training, we're piloting that. And if you're familiar with land banking, this is a land bank property, and they've been a huge supporter of making sure that we can get this off the ground and providing the pre-development funding. Why this bill is important is we want people to be able to invest at even down to a couple $100 and being able to take that in incrementally in growing the community. And having a bill like this offsets a lot of people don't have K-1s and things, so there's extra costs involved. When we look at a development, especially a development like this that's going to have a potential for moderate returns, that investment can't even cover the cost of what it would take to do the tax returns for the first couple years. So it's about allowing for people to have more money to invest back in the community into the values of how they want their community to grow. We don't have the large investment pipelines here in Michigan that other communities do. And what this will allow is for us to use our grassroots that Michigan is known for to be able to build our communities back up. And what Chris had mentioned about reinvesting and how we did it at the beginning of the 20th century, that really grew Michigan into the industrial powerhouse it was and is. So, a tool like this is really important to be able to bring back to the community, to align all of our strategic partners and really be able to show that when you do invest in your community, that the state's behind us, that there's opportunities for this money to regenerate and grow exponentially in the local communities. So thank you all for your time and your consideration on this.
And just to emphasize the idea, and Chris brought up the idea of a non-accredited investor or investments. There's nothing new about that. It's simply been much higher ceiling in order, or higher floor rather, to get into that, and we're just trying to open that up to general members of the population.
Exactly, right. Yeah, the securities laws in the U.S. has really separated about 85% of the population across the country for the last 60 or 70 years from making direct investments in their communities. And this not only allows that, we have legislation that's done that, but this provides, as Brent pointed out, an incentive, especially for that small dollar investor. And again, we're looking probably at a $100 minimum investment from somebody from the community could make into this thing. And so that incentive is a really important
And
piece
a sense
of
of
the puzzle.
ownership and participation.
Exactly.
And all those community building good
Decision-making.
things.
We also build governance. So we're building funds all over the country, and we're making sure that governance stays in the community. So we want to build an asset that's not movable. So that can't be purchased by private equity and taken somewhere else. So that's really the goal here. And this will really support the idea of encouraging people who've never had this habit to begin to do it and recognize the value of being to invest and own and part of the decision-making process in their own communities.
Wonderful. Representative Posthumus.
Thank you very much for your testimony. I really appreciate it. I like what you're trying to accomplish here. I'm a little bit concerned about a specific actually, I need a clarification on the definition for qualifying business. So in your testimony, you had said it requires sales from the majority of the sales coming from within the state. My assumption is you mean those sales are generated from, like, if somebody has multiple locations, one in Michigan, one outside of Michigan, that the majority, and actually I think it's 80%, are centered in the Michigan operated business. Not that if for my farm, I get 60% of my sales come from New York, Florida, Minnesota, you know what I mean? And about 40% come from Michigan. So but 100% of my property is owned in Michigan, 100% of my labor comes from Michigan. Everything else is 100% Michigan focused, and we're drawing revenue from outside of the state and bringing it here. So I guess, can you clarify what you mean by the sales, where the sales are generated?
Sure. Thank you for the question. So that actually is an IRS definition. So the IRS defines a Michigan business as meeting what's called the 80% rule. And candidly, I don't know the intricacies of that rule, but effectively 80% of the sales, 80% of the real estate, or the ownership, 80% of the employees, some combination of that, in order to meet the IRS criteria. And we just grabbed that when we put this together because we wanted this to have a primarily Michigan benefit. And so using that IRS rule allowed us to do that and make sure that those investments that we're making are going to stay and recirculate in the state.
So does that mean that, based on the IRS rule, is that 80% of the sales have to come into Michigan or have to be originated from and end up in Michigan?
So again, I won't pretend to be an expert
Okay.
in IRS rules, but we can certainly get some clarification around that to get a better answer to your question. Thank you very much. Sure.
Representative Young.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you all for being here today. I was just looking at it. It says
Can you swing your microphone over, please? Thank you.
rusty.
We'll give you one more try and
All right.
out of here.
And I'm out of here. Oh, let me cut it back up. No. Get me started. Okay. Thank you all for being here. Question for you. I'm looking at this. It says that the bill adds an acting section stating that the intent of the legislature to annually appropriate sufficient funds to hold the school aid fund harmless. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That sounds correct. Okay. So do we have any idea what that could potentially look like? Like, what's the price tag? What's any type of anticipated, estimated? I know
really-
it's tricky to do that, but it's
really
important.
terrific question. I think the analysis that has been done really says it's an unknown. And I will say this about when we developed this bill, we actually started meeting with Treasury initially on it. Treasury has, in the last two sessions when we've introduced this, agreed not to oppose it, which I think is significant since it's a tax credit. So what we brought to the table and showed to Treasury was an example that happened in Nova Scotia in Canada. And there they use an income tax credit to encourage investment into a fund in Nova Scotia. And a white paper was done on that project in 2019, which demonstrated a remarkable efficacy of job creation and also neutrality around this. So in 2019, they raised about $2 million, which cost them about $800,000 in tax credits. That $2 million got invested in about 119 businesses. It created 1,200 FTEs. And the bottom line, it generated an additional $24+ million in taxes to the province. So significantly offsetting the cost, the $800,000 cost. So that was the thinking behind this. So this was not only going to be revenue neutral, this was actually going to be revenue positive. So I think it's really on that basis the Treasury had said, hey, we're okay with this. We're not going to oppose it, because I think there is the promise of that. Obviously, in the real world and in the U.S., we have to see what that looks like. But I think if we can give this a flyer and get it out there and working, that we will see that it is going to be not revenue negative. It's actually going to be revenue beneficial to the state. So thank you for the question.
Yeah, I think the point is that potential exists. But
Absolutely.
at this point, it's still an unknown, but it shouldn't be a huge hit one way or the other.
That's correct.
That's the end.
Yes.
Basically what Treasury's saying.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Any other questions? Okay, we got some cards to read in here. Let's see. Not wishing to speak in support, Mike Johnston, MMA, Michigan Manufacturing. Not wishing to speak in support, Adam Majestic, Detroit Regional. And not wishing to speak in support, John Lamacchia, Michigan Municipal League. Thank you very much. While we have a full house here, we're going to go back to voting. Representative Schutte gave us notice that he's going to have to run in a bit, so we'll get this out of the way while he's here. House Bill 4041 is up first. This is Representative Carter's bill. There is an H3 that needs to be adopted. These are some technical language changes only. That is correct. And it doesn't have any material impact other than...
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You're absolutely right. It's just technical changes, and it does not change the intent of the bill.
Okay. And would you like to make a motion to put that forward?
I make the motion to adopt House H3 substitute.
Let's take a vote on that.
On the motion to adopt the H3 substitute, Chair Tisdel,
Yes.
Representatives Frisbie,
Yes.
Vanderwall,
Yes.
Leitner,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Posthumous,
Yes.
Alexander,
Yes.
Aragona,
Yes.
Schutte,
Yes.
Hoskins,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Neely,
Yes.
Green,
Aye.
Young,
Yes.
Pies. Mr. Chair, you have 14 yea, 0 nay, 0 pass. The motion prevails.
And if we can get a motion to move this forward. Representative Young? take a vote on that, please.
On the motion to report as sub H3, Chair Tisdel,
Yes.
Representatives Frisbie,
Yes.
Vanderwall,
Yes.
Leitner,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Posthumous,
Yes.
Alexander,
Yes.
Aragona,
Yes.
Shooty,
Yes.
Hoskins,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Neely,
Yes.
Breen,
Aye.
Young,
Yes.
Pies. Mr. Chair, you have 14 yeas, 0 nays, 0 pass. The motion prevails.
Wonderful. That moves forward with recommendation with the H3 substitute. House Bill 4088 is up next. Representative Slagh. And we have an amendment to look at here. Would you like to talk about the amendment at all, or just let us move along with it? We need a motion to adopt the amendment. Representative Leitner, take the roll on that, please.
On the motion to amend, Chair Tisdel,
Pass.
Representatives Frisbie,
Pass.
Vanderwall,
Pass.
Leitner,
Pass.
Martin, pass.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Posthumous,
Pass.
Alexander,
Pass.
Aragona,
Pass.
Shooty,
Pass.
Hoskins,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Neely,
Yes.
Breen,
Aye.
Young,
Yes.
Pies. Mr. Chair, you have 5 yea, 0 nay, 9 pass. The motion does not prevail.
Okay. Next up, we'll take the vote on House Bill 4088, sponsored by Representative Slagh. Can I have a motion for that, please? Representative Shooty, go ahead and take the vote, please.
On the motion to report with recommendation, Chair Tisdel,
Yes.
Representatives Frisbie,
Yes.
Vanderwall,
Yes.
Leitner,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Posthumous,
Yes.
Alexander,
Yes.
Aragona,
Yes.
Shooty,
Yes.
Hoskins,
Pass.
Carter,
Pass.
Neely,
Pass.
Breen,
Pass.
Young,
Pass.
Pies. Mr. Chair, you have 9 yea, 0 nay, 5 pass. The motion does prevail.
Move that along with recommendation. Thank you very much. House Bill 4431, sponsored by Representative Bierlein. We need a motion to move that along with recommendation. Representative Shooty, please take the vote on that.
On the motion to report with recommendation, Chair Tisdel,
Yes.
Representatives Frisbie,
Yes.
Vanderwall,
Yes.
Leitner,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Posthumous,
Yes.
Alexander,
Yes.
Aragona,
Yes.
Shooty,
Yes.
Hoskins,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Neely,
Yes.
Breen,
Aye.
Young,
Yes.
Pies. Mr. Chair, you have 14 yea, 0 nay, 0 pass. The motion prevails.
Thank you very much. That will be reported with recommendation. That's House Bill 4431. 4432, sponsored by Representative, Vice Chair Frisbie. We'll have a Representative Alexander moves to adopt that with recommendation. If we could take the vote, please.
On the motion to report with recommendation, Chair Tisdel,
Yes.
Representatives Frisbie,
Yes.
Vanderwall,
Yes.
Leitner,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Posthumous,
Yes.
Alexander,
Yes.
Aragona,
Yes.
Shooty,
Yes.
Hoskins,
Yes.
Carter, Neely,
Yes.
Breen,
Aye.
Young,
Yes.
Pies. Mr. Chair, you have 14 yea, 0 nay, 0 pass. The motion prevails.
That moves along with recommendation, House Bill 4432. Thank you very much. Back to testimony. House Bill 4892. Vice Chair Frisbie. I'm sorry, time is up. You. Okay, well, give you one more try.
Well, I had some notes and
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair and members of the committee. Come to you to testify in support of House Bill 4892, which would eliminate a duplicative licensing requirement for CPAs that operate as sole proprietorships. The occupational code requires CPAs in Michigan to apply for and obtain a license to practice accounting on top of the individual licensing an accountant already must have. Many small firms operate as sole proprietorships and with a single CPA in the office. This is just another regulatory burden that CPAs must go through. Let's continue to work to make every day easier for Michiganders by eliminating unnecessary financial burdens in their way. Thank you for your time.
And so basically, the way the law is now, it requires 2 licenses for 1 person.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. And any objections or opposition to this?
No, I believe everybody that we've talked to has
Everybody's on
been
board?
supportive. Yes.
Okay. Any questions?
Oh, Leitner?
Oh, Representative Leitner?
So we just had a local issue happen in the last couple of days, and so I was just curious, like, what happens with that? Like, how does one check? I mean, obviously in this case, it's a little different because it's actually the dad that owns the firm, and one of the sons, was allegedly licensed but not.
Right.
So, like, how does it normally work for licensure? Like, is it on the firm to just double check with Laura, or do they just say, "Oh, bring your certificate and we'll look at it," and then it's great?
So it's through Laura, and Laura's got the responsibility to maintain or provide that licensing to the individual. The individual in that case, which I read about yesterday, obviously was pretending to be something that they weren't, allegedly, and with no license from Laura. So I think a little bit different situation here. This would be if that gentleman had been on their own, didn't have a license, and operating as a CPA, as in a sole proprietorship, this would be a problem. But you can check on licenses in the state of Michigan online to make sure that the CPA is a licensed CPA. Does that help answer your question?
Yep, thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Before you go, we do have an H1 sub on this that simply moves the effective date to 90 days after enactment.
Yep, at the request of Laura.
Okay. Would you like to make the motion to adopt that sub?
I would.
Okay. The Vice Chair Frisbie has that. You want to take the vote?
On the motion to adopt the H1 substitute, Chair Tisdel?
Yes.
Representatives Frisbie?
Yes.
Vanderwall?
Yes.
Leitner?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Posthumous?
Yes.
Alexander?
Yes.
Aragona?
Yes.
Schutte?
Yes.
Hoskins?
Yes.
Carter?
Yes.
Neely?
Yes.
Breen? Young? Pies. Mr. Chair, you have 13 yeas, 0 nay, 1 pass. The motion does prevail.
All right. Thank you very much. Next up is House Bill 4893. That is mine. There's an H2 sub there that is at the recommendation of all of the stakeholders, Michigan CPA and Laura, and it affirms the hours and requirements that we'll be discussing here. A motion to adopt that sub, Representative Schutte. Take the roll, please.
On the motion to adopt the H2 substitute, Chair Tisdel?
Yes.
Representatives Frisbie?
Yes.
Vanderwall?
Yes.
Leitner?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Posthumous?
Yes.
Alexander?
Yes.
Aragona?
Yes.
Schutte?
Yes.
Hoskins?
Yes.
Carter?
Yes.
Neely?
Yes.
Breen? Young?
Here's a question. Are the departments in support now that you've adopted their changes? That, I was trying to get an answer to that.
The sub is favored by Laura and the CPA stakeholders.
Yes.
Yes.
Of course, I could be just making that up. That's always that potential. You never know. So, okay. Go ahead.
Pies. Okay, you have 14 yeas, 0 nays, 0 pass. The motion does prevail.
Thank you very much. So that motion is adopted. We're going to go at ease and call the chair. Turn it over to Vice Chair Frisbie here.
4893.
Thank you, Vice Chair Frisbie and committee members. Real
you
quickly,
go.
this is, so House Bill.
Call back to order, and I'll turn it over to you.
Oh, now.
You're not always in charge.
Well, I have been put in my place.
Finally.
We're ready to go. Oh,
all
very
yours.
good. So House Bill 4893 really is very simple. It's just trying to redefine and bring our licensing requirements for certified public accountants in line with what's required by perhaps the majority of other states in the union, with the idea being that it makes it more attractive for CPA candidates to come into the state of Michigan to get their license and to practice, and it expands the acceptance of out-of-state licenses to come into the state of Michigan for those that are practicing, again, outside the state of Michigan, to come in and just be kind of automatically put to work. I have with me the president of the Michigan CPA Association, Bob Doyle. And Bob, if you want to take it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to speak today on behalf of the Michigan Association of CPAs and the more than 15,000 members we serve across the state. My name is Bob Doyle, and I serve as president and CEO of the association. So we strongly support HB 4893, which amends the Michigan Occupational Code to create an additional nationally aligned pathway to CPA licensure in Michigan. This legislation makes it possible for a greater number of qualified candidates to become CPAs by removing outdated barriers. It also clarifies language about continuing professional education requirements and eliminates an unnecessary annual requirement for earning accounting and auditing credits for CPE. To speak more about the proposed additional pathway, I want to introduce Michelle Randall, CPA, recently retired professor of accounting at Schoolcraft College, member of the American Institute of CPAs Board of Directors, and member of the National Pipeline Advisory Group, which conducted a profession-wide research into the cause of the accounting talent shortage. Michelle?
Thank you, Bob, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak before you today. For years, Michigan has required CPA candidates to complete 150 credit hours of higher education before licensure. While this was well-intentioned, this requirement has proven costly and rigid. It often delays entry into the workforce, disproportionately affects candidates from economically disadvantaged or underrepresented backgrounds, and limits opportunities for those who might otherwise excel through professional experience and examination. Employers across the state tell us that these barriers are contributing to the talent shortage, leaving businesses without the skilled professionals that they need. House Bill 4893 provides a modernized solution. It focuses on the core components of licensure: a bachelor's degree, 2 years of qualifying professional experience, and passage of the CPA exam, while adding the flexibility of creating an alternative to the 150 hours. This ensures that candidates will still have the option to pursue additional education, but are no longer required to do so, that they can demonstrate proficiency through their experience. This approach also reflects the updates that were recently made to the Uniform Accountancy Act, referred to as UAA. This would align Michigan with the growing national movement among other states to modernize the CPA licensure. As both a CPA and an educator, I see firsthand how the current 150-hour mandate impacts aspiring professionals. Many of my students are highly capable and eager to enter the workforce, yet they face financial and logistic hurdles in completing that additional coursework. House Bill 4893 offers a balanced solution. It preserves rigorous standards through examination and experience while introducing flexibility that reflects real-world competencies. By adopting these changes, Michigan will not only help our students succeed, but will also strengthen our economy by ensuring businesses have access to the skilled professionals they need. The CPA profession has a national model, the UAA, that can be adopted as a whole or in part to meet the needs of the individual jurisdictions. The UAA has undergone significant modernization to reflect the realities of today's profession. The UAA now offers 3 pathways to licensure: the post-baccalaureate and the 150-hour education model with 1-year qualifying experience, and the addition of a baccalaureate degree with 2 years qualifying experience. The new additional pathway incorporates a broader role for professional experience to be determined at the jurisdiction level. This change was not made lightly. It followed years of research, stakeholder engagement, and analysis of workforce trends. The UAA's goal was clear: maintain the integrity and rigor of the CPA credential while removing unnecessary barriers that limit those entering the profession. Importantly, Michigan is not acting alone. As of today, 24 states and jurisdictions have already adopted legislation creating this additional pathway, including our neighboring states. Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, and Wisconsin is soon to follow. This regional momentum underscores the urgency of Michigan to modernize the requirement to remain competitive and consistent. This change also aligns with the Michigan Department of Licensure and Regulatory Affairs Cutting the Red Tape report, which recommends reducing unnecessary regulatory burdens and creating flexible pathways to licensure. By aligning Michigan's requirements with the national standards and the state-level strategies, we ensure consistency across jurisdictions, support mobility for our professionals for interstate commerce, protect the public interest, and strengthen our ability to attract and retain talent in this competitive marketplace. By adopting this legislation, we will achieve 4 goals. We'll cut the red tape, reducing a one-size-fits-all educational mandate with a competency-based model rooted in education, experience, and exam. We'll expand the CPA pipeline, opening doors for more qualified candidates, ensuring businesses have access to the financial expertise they urgently need. Strengthen our economy by supporting small businesses, corporations, and nonprofits across Michigan by addressing the talent gap. And stay nationally consistent, keeping Michigan aligned with the other states already modernizing the license requirements. To be clear, this is not about lowering standards. The CPA exam remains rigorous, and the CPA verified experience ensures real-world readiness. Instead, this is about modernizing an outdated system so that Michigan can remain competitive, grow its workforce, and support the businesses that drive our economy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Michelle. So beyond the new pathway to CPA licensure, the bill also addresses continuing professional education requirements. Currently, Michigan CPAs must complete every year 8 hours of A&A, or what's called auditing and accounting, 2 hours of ethics, and 30 hours in any category. This structure forces CPAs, regardless of practice area, to complete auditing credits even if they do not work in that area. So HB 4893 removes that requirement, replacing it with a more flexible framework, more relevant to a CPA's practice, 2 hours of ethics and 38 hours in any category. The bill also clarifies the rule on carryover of continuing education. Carryover already occurs in practice, but current law is ambiguous. The new law language makes it explicit where CPAs may carry over up to 40 hours into the next year, and carryover hours must be applied before the new hours. So our members consistently tell us they want regulation that's clear, fair, and practical. House Bill 4893 delivers on all 3. It expands access to the CPA profession, reduces unnecessary burdens, and ensures clarity and compliance. We encourage you to support it and to continue seeking ways to streamline regulation while protecting the public interest. Thank you very much for your time and consideration, and we certainly welcome your questions.
And just to reiterate a little bit, a typical 4-year degree is 120 hours.
Correct.
And so for many students, that burden of getting an extra 30 hours or two more semesters and then being able to go out and get paid for their field experience is a hardship. And it's what other states, 24 of them, are moving past.
Correct.
Correct. I mean, if you think about it, they have to forego working for a year to get that additional education and pay tuition. Yeah. So we have found that that adds an extra time and cost in getting the license.
Okay. Are there any questions from the committee? Rep. Young.
Press the button.
You did.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you all for being here. So this is really, really interesting to me because my youngest son was at Michigan State, got his degree in finance, took a semester because he was on the CPA path, and he did a semester. He was like, I can't afford this. And so this is he did well, and he did well, but he was just like, this is a lot. And his undergrad was paid for 100%, and so now he was getting in all this debt just from one semester. So I do have this question. The whole time he was at State, he was able to do internships from Plant to a couple of others. Not going to do a bunch of name dropping, but he did internships with 2 different firms. Would any of that time count towards experience, is my question.
Yes, internships do count towards that work experience. As long as they're working under the guidance of a CPA, they can count that towards the 1 year if you're on the 150 hours, or in this new pathway, the 2 years that would be required with the bachelor's degree.
And I have another follow-up, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
So you're from Schoolcraft in Livonia, okay? I represent Parsippany. How are the universities feeling about this in terms of reducing the number of credits, which could potentially reduce the tuition and that type of thing?
So you're referring to the impact on like Masters of Accounting programs?
Yes, that's right.
It's important to note that it's an additional pathway. It's not removing or taking away the 150, but those master programs really will be rethinking what is the value add they're providing in that additional year. And I think you can look at that additional year can provide a competitive advantage over students who are getting their bachelor's degree. It could make a more well-rounded business professional. And ultimately, depending on what that CPA wants to do, you may need a master's degree. So if they want to go into like a C-suite executive, they may require a master's degree, or if they want to go into education, it may require a master's degree. So when we think about how we're talking to students, we really do have to sit down and understand what are their future expectations in order to guide them appropriately.
That helps me. Thank you so much. You're welcome.
Representative Vanderwall.
Yeah, thank you all for being here and appreciate it, Mr. Chair. Just where do we line up as a state compared to our surrounding neighbors and lines of continuing ed credit?
Sorry.
I thought
He's new.
I know, right?
I thought I had a booming voice enough for that,
You do.
but where do we sit in continuing ed credits versus our neighboring states?
So in order to maintain mobility, all 55 jurisdictions that license CPAs, all 50 states and a few others, they all have what's called under reciprocity and substantial equivalency. All states currently have the 40 hours of continuing education per year. A little different nuance, like the change we're making to make it 38 of just anything and then 2 of ethics. But I will say at a national level, there is discussion on looking at those continuing education requirements and looking at different competency-based models and things of that nature to potentially either look at reducing the number or looking at how do you kind of measure competency with all this continuing education for the CPA license. So it's something that's being looked at nationally.
One more follow-up, if I may.
You may.
Do we have a minimum of how many credits you have to take per year? So you couldn't do 0, 0, and then 120.
So it's a 2-year licensing cycle, and it's 40 hours for the first year, and then anything over 40 hours can be carried over into the second year of the 2-year licensing cycle. So frankly, a CPA could get 80 hours in the first year and not require anything in the second year in order to utilize the concept of carryover, which is a great benefit. Many states do not offer a carryover model. They have to get that 40 hours per year, and so it's nice to have that for our CPAs to be able to take advantage of here in Michigan.
Thank you.
And if I may, just to clarify, what's relatively unique about Michigan, which we're hoping to change with this, is the auditing requirement,
Correct.
which a relatively small fraction of Michigan CPAs are actually involved in.
Yeah, I'll admit we get a lot of complaints from members that feel like they're wasting that 8 hours of taking if they don't do audits. Of course, many CPAs that do, particularly large firms, they're getting that education anyway throughout their normal training that they attend. So this will just, kind of relieve that burden for those individuals that feel like they're wasting a day if they have to go to a conference or do some online training or something like that to meet that requirement.
Thanks for your testimony. Any other questions today? All right, Michelle, I just need you to state your last name again.
Randall.
Randall.
R-A-N-D-A-L-L.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we will go at ease.
All right,
Thank you very much.
And then we have one card to read in.
Okay. Call the meeting back to order. We do have one card to read in on House Bill 4892 and 93. Not wishing to speak in support, Paige Fultz, Licensing and Regulatory Affairs. I think that's it for the day. Yeah. Motion to excuse absent members. Representative Aragona, thank you. Being no other business in front of this committee, the meeting is adjourned.